Hey, hey.
Hey, how are you, Rafael?
Good. Did you write all that nice shit about us?
I did. Not all. I'm sure other people wrote nice shit too, but I definitely
I
have
think
great
you were
things to
the
say
you were
about the
the
show.
first out the gate. I don't usually like, especially now. I usually try to avoid all that shit, but it was the first one to come out, so it made the rounds. He said very nice things. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank you for making the show. I'm a big fan, and I'm glad to see it doing so well.
Thank you.
I got to see the film at Sundance 5 years ago now. How does it feel to be doing press for season two? Is this something you imagined at that time?
No, no, of course not. And also, thank you for coming to our premiere because you really didn't know what you were walking into. Um, but, but that was great. We had a lot of fun at those early screenings and learned a lot about ourselves as filmmakers at Sundance because those we'd done test screenings but nothing that big. So thanks for being a part of that. And yeah, to season two now, I think we sort of thought going into TV that this was just kind of going to be like our little experimental artsy show and it's really just scaled up since that initial idea. And I was running out to get coffee this morning and just drove by a billboard for our show that I didn't even know was there, and that was awesome. Just was like, having those moments of like, well, there this thing has taken on a life of its own, and I feel like a steward of it, and I think David feels the same, and Jess and Keith and all of our main collaborators on it, and I think we just feel lucky that we get to keep going back into this world and spending time with these characters. And now I feel like I have a relationship with these characters that had we not had that Sundance experience, none of this would have happened. So very grateful.
And I feel like we get to see a lot more of Miles in season two. He felt more like theoretical and sort of imagined. We didn't know if we were really seeing the real him. It was in everyone else's mind. And now we really get to spend some quality, difficult, emotional time with him.
Yeah, especially early in the season, right? That episode 3 is kind of the big kicker. Um, and I think a lot of season 1 was we were trying to clear space. We knew that there was going to be an audience moving over from the movie, and we were like, we don't want to give you a bunch of Miles and Colin and promise you that that's what it's going to be because it's not going to be that. Like we want you to fall in love with this cast, and thankfully everyone did. And so I think that freed us up a little bit to let the humor that a Miles character can bring to a show play a little bit more now and add that element in. And especially because Trisha's arc is so different this season, we like deepened sort of her. She's still Trish, but she's having a little bit more of a crisis this season, and so then Miles can play a little bit more comic relief at times, and then also we get to remind everyone the weight of the world through Miles and their parenting relationship. And so it's always fun to act across a scene with Jasmine. She's a phenomenal scene partner, um, because I had a little bit better of a handle on what it meant to show run a show, there's just a little bit more bandwidth to take those scenes seriously. And so we just, a little bit more playtime, a little bit more fun.
I also think people would probably describe the decision not to have David star in the show as brave. Some might say not the best choice because he's a
Stupid.
draw. Where do you want him? But I feel like that was a very intentional choice that you wanted to focus on these other characters.
Yeah, look, making TV is this weird negotiation and like giving people what they want and never giving them what they want. And the reality is like you love David because you haven't met the other people. Like, yeah, you watched a 90-minute movie that was all about Colin's character. Of course you love Colin, but have faith that that's not the only good character we can write. And now, like more people have watched the show than they've ever seen the movie. Most people don't even know that Colin is a character. Those are the diehard fans now that are asking about Colin. Most people are like, more Trish, more Earl, more Janelle, more, they have these whole other fan bases now for these other characters. And I think we get a lot of enjoyment out of that, about being right, that there were these other interesting characters in the Bay Area that are just as worthy of great storylines. And look, if there's the right moment where like, all right, let's bring Colin back to continue that story, we'll do it. But like, we're also going to have to reintroduce him to a new audience, And I think for David, um, his life was also just going crazy at the time. He was on Snowpiercer and he was doing a few movies and things. And I was really more concerned about having him there as a writing collaborator and producing collaborator. And that was paramount to set all of our new actors up in a world that was believable. And so for both of us in different capacities, it was like that strategic step back. And now there's a little bit more fun where like season 2 teases a lot of Colin coming back around and how close that world is, and introduces a few new characters that could be sort of major players. And yeah, but that's the fun, is like you flip your movie right into a TV show. And I think every time I've seen that, it hasn't worked. because it's just a different medium. It's like you can't take a movie and go same format but unknown actors. It's like you can't like recast me and David as different people for a TV show. Nobody wants your movie light. You got to give A game players. And so bringing in Jalen Barron to play Trish is like, that's an A game draft pick. She's pure fucking gold when you put her on camera. And that's what we were looking for. And getting Helen was huge. It's like, yeah, you don't know that you think you need David, but you don't know what Helen's going to do. And that's the fun, is the surprisingly inevitable reaction to the show is like, oh, we didn't know what we didn't know. It's like, yeah, we did. That's what's great about, getting to make something that's a surprise like that.
So I assume that it's too early to know whether season 3 is a possibility, but how much do you guys have mapped out?
We don't really think about it. My internal mandate with everybody is we end every season like it's the end. I love a complete chapter. I understand when there's certain shows where like they exist on the nature of cliffhangers. But I think the nature of dealing with incarceration is sort of in these perfect like year brackets. And so to me, every season is a year in that process. And at any point in time, that can be it. And we can close it out. And I think the end of the season is kind of this potentially neat closeout, but we always talk about it like close a door, open a window. If there's another season because we all agree it's the right idea, meaning the network wants it and we want it and people are excited and they're available and we have a great idea. That's the big thing. We have to have a great idea for how to take that story on. But I think to a certain degree, we do kind of close ourselves off from that. Some of that is just to stay focused on the season at hand. I think when you start to stretch too much and go, here's the 5-season arc. It's like, yeah, but that's how you get those shows where they got that weak ass third season or that weak ass, like they got that one that they didn't think through. I think it's a conversation every time of like, can we up the ante, or are we just carrying on? And we had a good idea for season 2, and so we did that. I think now we're going to see after it comes out, how's the audience feel? How do we feel? How does the network feel? How do the actors feel? And then we'll go from there.
I have a feeling everyone's going to love it. Thanks so much for talking with me today, and good luck.
Thanks so much. Thanks for writing all those kind words. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you got a chance to check it out. It means a lot to us.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Later.